that night, for some reason, I felt like we were supposed to take those specific things out. And he thought he saw somebody sleeping in a place where we don't normally walk to. We about fell off the chair. I'm Dorothy, and I see acts happening every day in Charlotte. We just recently got some clothing opportunities at the Friday night street ministry, where we were able to put together things for people on the street. I was on a small team with 2 other men, and for some reason we found like these brand new jackets that were nice quality zip-ups, and brand new dress jeans and blue jeans, and some clothing that it was pretty unique and unusual. And we also had a box of food, which was unusual, and a blanket and some other, 1 pair of shoes and a women's size. Usually we divvy all the stuff up between the teams, but that night, for some reason, I felt like we were supposed to take those specific things out. So that night we were on the route down to Romare Bearden Park, and Jacob saw something in a place where we don't normally walk to. It was kind of set aside, and he thought he saw somebody sleeping. So we walk up, and there's this couple that is, they're sleeping, and we inadvertently wake them up. And we were talking to the man. His name was Travis, and he said, we just got to town. We only have $30, and I just got a job this afternoon, but I don't have clothes. And I was like, I pulled out the dress jeans. I said, well, what size do you wear? And he goes, oh my gosh, those are my size. And he says, well, do you have shoes? And he says, I need some shoes for my wife. And I said, well, we have a size 7. And he goes, well, that's her size. So we left him with him, and we prayed for him, and we had a little bit of time with him, and then we went on about our way. Well, the following Friday, Jamie, who leads the Friday night street ministry teams, he was getting some pushback from one of the people at Bible study. He was talking about how God provides for all of your needs. This man stood up and he says, well, can I tell my story from last week? And so Jamie's like, yeah, tell your story. And so he gets up and he says, my wife and I just came to town. We only had $30. I didn't have a job. I didn't know what we were going to do. And we ended up at Bible study last week. And he said, I asked for prayer for a job, and that's what you prayed. And before I left the Bible study, I had a job. And he says, we went down to the park because we didn't have any place to go. And my wife and I made a list. What were the things that we needed? And I listed everything out, and we prayed over it. And all of a sudden that night we'd laid down, and then these 3 people came up to us, and they had everything on that list that we had prayed for. And they prayed for us, and it was just amazing. And he said, so God does answer prayers. So that was a tremendous story, but it went on from there. That following Sunday, my daughter and I went down to help Jamie put some things together, and we decided we would go have lunch before we started working. So we went down to a place in Charlotte, had an amazing lunch and fellowship, and came back to work at the King's Closet. Well, when we got back, all of a sudden, this man and his wife knocked on the door and came in, and we were able to give them some more things. And so Jamie asked Travis, he says, well, where did you get a job? And he says, oh, I'm a chef at one of the restaurants. And when we went to the restaurant that day, Jamie said, well, I had, blackened salmon. Travis goes, I prepared and cooked that for you. We about fell off the chair. It was a really great connection. And I feel like, are really kind of God ordained, I think, the timing of it and his faith for what God was going to provide is just, it's just lovely. I'm Dorothy. I work with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Dream Center on the Friday Night Street Ministry team, and I see acts happening every day in Charlotte.